I want you to do something before we start. Read these words out loud if you can, just once. Bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, night, blanket, doze, slumber, nap, yawn, drowsy. Don't write them down. Just read them and let them go. Hold them somewhere in your head. Okay, in about a minute, I'm going to ask you what you saw. And there's a very good chance you'll be completely certain you saw a word that was never there. That's not a trick. It's one of the most reliable illusions in all of psychology. And a study published in 2026 found something that makes it dramatically worse. Something a huge number of people do several times a week. Here's the finding, stated plainly. Researchers gave people THC, the active compound in cannabis, and then tested their memory in 21 different ways. And it didn't just make their memory fuzzy, the way you'd expect. It did something stranger. It made people confidently remember things that never happened, words that were never shown, details that were never there. Not I forgot, the opposite. I clearly remember this, about something that didn't exist. And by the way, that word list from a moment ago, a lot of people will swear they saw the word sleep. Go back and check. It's not there. Now imagine that same effect turned up. That's what this study measured. So where did this come from? Washington State University. A psychology researcher named Carrie Cutler. And this wasn't a loose survey. It was a proper double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, the gold standard. 120 regular cannabis users came into a lab. Each person was randomly given one of three things to vaporize: a placebo with no THC, a moderate dose, 20 milligrams, or a higher dose, 40. Nobody, not even the researchers in the room, knew who got what. Then everyone ran the same 21 memory tests. Most earlier research only looked at one or two kinds of memory, usually just recalling a list of words. This study did something rare. It looked at almost every memory system at once. Recall, source, sequence, future intentions, all of it, side by side. And that wide net is exactly what makes the results so unsettling. Let's start with the effect that hit hardest: false memory. The setup is that word list trick I opened with. It has a name, the DRM task. You hear a list of words that all point at one obvious theme: bed, pillow, tired, dream. But the theme word itself, sleep, is never actually said. Later, they ask what you heard, and people constantly report the missing word, confidently. Because your brain didn't store a recording, it stored the gist, and then filled in the most obvious blank. Now add THC. In this study, intoxicated people produced false memories at a dramatically higher rate, nearly twice as often as the placebo group on some measures. And it wasn't only the theme word. Cutler found people recalling words that were completely unrelated, things that had no reason to be there at all. The brain wasn't just filling a logical gap anymore, it was inventing. The second big casualty was something called source memory. This is your ability to remember where a piece of information came from. Did your friend tell you that? Or did you read it? Did you see it happen? Or did someone describe it to you? Under THC, that tracking system broke down. People knew a fact, but couldn't tell you where they'd learned it. And this matters more than it sounds. Source memory is how you separate what's real from what you heard, or imagined, or saw online. When it fails, a rumor and a first-hand experience start to feel the same. You lose the little tag that says, "This one actually happened to me." And without that tag, your brain treats everything with the same confidence, including the things it made up. Now, here's the part the researchers themselves didn't expect. You'd assume more THC means more damage. A little bit, a little effect. A lot, a big effect. That's not what happened. The moderate dose, 20 milligrams, impaired memory just about as much as the high dose of 40. There was no meaningful difference between them. Let that land. It means the distortion isn't something that only kicks in when you're extremely high. A moderate, ordinary amount was enough to produce most of the effect. The idea that just a little keeps your memory safe, this data doesn't support it. The floor drops faster than people think, and then it mostly just stays there. So why would a drug do this? The answer is in how memory actually works, and it's not how most people picture it. You don't record memories like a camera and play them back. You rebuild them, every single time, from fragments. THC interferes right at the first step. It binds to receptors, called CB1 receptors, that are dense in the hippocampus, the brain's memory-building hub. When those receptors get flooded, new information gets tagged sloppily. Fewer clean details get stored. Then later, when you try to remember, your brain does what it always does. It reconstructs. But now it's working from a blurrier, patchier set of fragments. So it fills the gaps with general knowledge, with what usually happens, with what feels familiar. And a gap filled with a plausible guess feels exactly like a real memory. That's the whole trick. The confidence stays, the accuracy quietly leaves. And this isn't just a lab curiosity. Think about where accurate memory actually matters. Eyewitness testimony, where someone's freedom can hinge on what a person is sure they saw. Suggestive questioning plus a memory system that's already inventing details is a genuinely dangerous combination. Then there's a quieter one the study flagged, prospective memory. That's your ability to remember to do things in the future. Take your medication, show up to the meeting, stop at the store on the way home. That system took a hit too. As Cutler put it, if there's something you need to remember to do later, you probably don't want to be high at the moment you're supposed to remember it. These aren't dramatic movie-style blackouts. They're small, invisible failures in the exact systems daily life quietly runs on. Now, the honest caveats, because they matter. Everyone in this study was already a regular cannabis user, so we can't cleanly say how this generalizes to everyone. The tests were lab tasks, word lists, and controlled exercises, which aren't a perfect stand-in for messy real life. One type of memory, recalling personal experiences, actually showed no significant effect here, and the researchers say it needs more study. And the effects, while real and consistent, were described as not typically dramatic. This isn't erasing your past, it's nudging accuracy and confidence out of alignment. It's one strong study, it points somewhere clear, but it's a signpost, not the final word. But here's what's hard to shake. We treat our memories as evidence. If I clearly remember it, it happened. This whole line of research quietly takes that apart. Memory isn't a recording you replay. It's a story your brain rebuilds. And confidence is not proof that the story is true. THC just makes something visible that was always there. The gap between how sure you feel and how right you are. You can be completely certain and completely wrong, and never feel the difference from the inside. So that's the study. One of the strangest, most honest looks yet at how fragile memory really is. If it made you second guess something you were sure about, that's exactly why this channel exists. Subscribing is the single biggest thing that keeps these videos getting made. So if you want more, hit it. And I'm genuinely curious. Go back to that word list at the start. Were you sure you saw sleep? Tell me in the comments. Honestly, I read every one. A like helps this reach more people than you'd think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.